wanted to talk about something that came up last week for us about creating our own reality, and that we are our own creators of our reality, and we don't really stop to think about that. And to put that for people watching, it's really starting to have a new perspective about yourself and about the fact that you are the star of your own movie, basically, in this lifetime. And most people are so distracted and so going from one thing to another and thinking about all the things that they have to do or should do. And we don't really think about the fact that this life is for us and things are happening for us, not to us, which we've mentioned before. But I wanted to bring that up. And how do you have that awareness on a daily basis?
I'm curious as to what came up for you guys that brought that up.
It's the book that I'm reading right now. Oh. And it's something that Karen and I have talked about on and off for years now, because whether it's from our own downloads that we do, that most people know we share every week in our newsletter, or experiences we've had, that visual has come up. And then it's just always reinforced by different things that are people we're talking to, books we're reading. And so it was coming up last week, and it still is in this book that I'm currently reading. And it's a helpful reminder to us. And I feel like you yourself have that knowing as well. And the question that I'm posing to us to talk about is, how do you action that? How do you remember that? How do people who are watching this right now remember that they're the stars of their own movie here in this lifetime? And yet we don't always consciously know.
Lizzi, you know this too from Abraham, right? I'm the creator of my reality, which can be a wonderful thought or it can be a really frustrating thought as well. Wait, would I really created this?
Exactly. Like, why would I have all these challenges? So it's hard to understand. I think most people would find that hard to understand, which is why I'm bringing it up.
So something I actually recorded maybe a week or two ago, this meditation that I did, because I think the biggest question here is how, right? What do I do with that?
Exactly. What now? It sounds like so lofty and whatever, but that's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah. So in my day-to-day, what I've started doing was, and you can do this on your own, but I made a recording because recordings help me focus instead of just sit for 15 minutes quietly. I end up just thinking for 15 minutes quietly. So I've been sitting crisscross applesauce. So I'm sitting with my ankles crossed in front of a full-length mirror that just so happens to be the perfect distance from my bed that I can lean. It just worked out perfectly. So my knees are touching my knees in the mirror, and I'm looking in my own eyes. And I realized this because as I was recording it for myself, but also for clients, when I was recording it into the voice memo in my phone, I could see my reflection in the glass. And so I was like saying it to me. If you imagine you, whether it's inner child you, like 6 or 7-year-old you, or present age you, or 80, 90, 110-year-old you, the woman in you, if you look back at, so I'm almost 44. If I look back at the last 43 years, the way I have magically lined things up, like people and places and my home and finding things that I love and stumbling upon, and the surprise and the delight over the years, I'm looking into my eyes in this meditation and thinking, oh my God, how did you know to do that? How in the world did you know to do that? To get me in that place at that time, at that exact moment that she would have walked in the door, that boom, we would have been friends for the next 20 years. And she would have taught me these next things that I needed to know. And then really, truly looking at the yellow brick road that you've been on, the yellow brick road that still remains out in front of you. Because if I look back and I see, oh my gosh, Lizzi, you lined up inner being you, source eternal you, lined up all of these things that you didn't know to ask for. You knew you wanted to feel these things. And so this was the way they came to fruition. You didn't know to ask for them specifically. And you know how you want to feel moving forward. And then that little like shit-eating grin in your eye that we get of, you're only 44. I have so much more in store. Just wait. You have no idea what I have coming for you. It's going to be so good. Because I think that most of us at our core are optimists. And so I know for me, when I look back on relationships and experiences, I tend to remember the good. And then someone has to remind me of but remember they also did this, this, and this. But when I'm looking back, I'm like, why did I break up with that person?
Totally. Yes.
Right. So we are naturally optimistic beings. So when you look back, the way that I do this meditation is I sit there, I get in my zone, I find my center. I have to stare at myself in my eyes, which can be uncomfortable, like the saying, I love you, we've talked about. And then I think of three things, three synchronicities, three coincidences, as Abraham would say, that have magically lined up for me so that I have proof, right? I have like data points for the 3D thinking mind of me. If these things worked out really well, and if those things worked out well, studies show I'm trending up, right? Like that 30-second study I just did shows the trend is constantly up. And even when things feel down, there's some kind of twist at the end of it. There's something beneficial. I don't need to be able to see it now. I just have to trust. Like inner being me knows better than I do that this thing has to break apart in order for this thing to be born out of it. So just hang tight and get there. And then I get into that energized, excited, like happy anticipation, right? So change it from anxiety of what the fear of the future to excitement of the future, of the anticipation of, oh my God, it's about to be so good. It's already great, but it's about to get real fun.
I'm having a hard time with that, honestly, for those that might not have that perspective, let's say. So let's say that
to me is the work.
Okay. So talk to me about that.
When we say you've got to do your work, as a practitioner, I can lead you through where the stuckness is. I can show you where it is. I can show you how to release it, but you have to show up for you to do the work, the practice, the daily practice of, I choose not to go down that rabbit hole of negative thought. I have to consistently choose it. And it is every single day.
Exactly.
And when I was teaching meditation, I used to say to people, I have no clue how to play tennis. I've held a racket twice. You wouldn't expect me to go out on my first lesson and be able to volley for 30 minutes with a pro. It would take me time to practice it and learn that muscle memory. It's the same with our mindset, right? Certain grooves that you've been practicing, certain thought patterns have been practiced for decades. And so it's going to take a minute. So when I feel that thought pattern come up, and I was telling Robyn this earlier, lately I have felt intolerant to being in the presence with that negative mindset or energy or the let's commiserate versus celebrate when I'm meeting with other people. And there's a part of me that judges it as it's not nice. I just changed the game. Nobody else changed the game with me. But it feels so uncomfortable to me and so negative, and it instantly pulls me down. And I'm glad that it does, because it wakes me up immediately of don't sit here. There are pins on this chair. Don't sit in this chair. Get up. And so I'm grateful for it, which is also an Abraham concept, but I'm feeling it now. So I have to actively choose a better thought. Right. So if you're in the, and I get it, I've been in the midst of, I was just on my floor for over a month in pain, physical pain. And I was watching something yesterday that she said, maybe humans should learn to sit in pain a little bit more instead of taking pills or instead of going to doctors. It was like this. And I said out loud, I was home alone. I was like painting and playing and it was on in the background. And I heard her say that and I go, fuck you. I am not saying that. I'm not saying get used to sitting in pain. Pain is hard and horrible and uncomfortable. You are not meant to sit in pain.
I agree with that.
But to me, the work is okay, then I'm going to start fighting tooth and nail mentally, physically, spiritually to get out of it.
I'm just saying that some people might have trouble with their inventory of serendipity. If you've had a really difficult time and a lot of things haven't, you could potentially be looking back at all those things that lined up that weren't in your highest good or that weren't positive.
And I think that is the work, is the changing of the perspective of, yes, I have one perspective looking at none of this helped me and look at where I am, or you can flip it and be like, look at all that I have been through and look at where I am. And I am so strong. And so I am no longer going to look at those things as something that was terrible. It was painful and it was hard. And look at who I am now. And I can choose to look at it differently. And then I can choose to look differently going forward. But that is the work. And I think to your point, Lizzi, it's practice. We can have this conversation right now. Someone can be listening and be like, all right, I'm going to do that. And then you go do it. And for a few hours, you look at it differently. And then you may wake up tomorrow and be like, oh, fuck that shit. That was terrible and pissed and all of that. But then you have to do it again. You have to do it again. You have to flip it again. And the more you flip it, the more it will change. But it is, to me, it is not necessarily easy because, as Lizzi was just saying, we have these very familiar routes in our thinking, in our brain that we've created. You have to start taking a new route.
Well, I think this is where you can play the game of the movie, right? Of picture yourself in this movie. This is actually a movie of your life.
Yes.
And maybe all of these terrible things did happen. And maybe you were put in situations beyond your control and all of this misfortune seemingly came your way. But how do you want the rest of the movie to go?
That's right.
How do you create the movie? So there's this pivot point when everything changes, when you become the heroine or the hero in your own movie. That's where you can take power back, because you can make those decisions to put you in that place of celebrating the outcome of all of your life experiences.
And I think that's what we've all chosen to do as professions, right? Is help people.
That's right.
It's hard to do from the inside. My biggest lesson was and when I'm in that place of feeling like I've just hit concrete, or I can imagine people listening with a sick child or a sick parent or really hard life struggles. How am I going to pay my bills? Like real life shit, saying that's nice, girls, that you can just look on the bright side. I don't have that luxury right now. And I've been there. I understand it. I get it. And there is always a different perspective to see. And that's your only way out.
That's right. I want to share, actually, Lizzi, I didn't get to catch up with you later last week. Karen's heard the story. I had my dishwasher being fixed. Okay.
This is a great
And I was doing work while the repairman was fixing our dishwasher. And when he walked in our house to begin the work, I was very excited because we've had 3 weeks without a dishwasher, which I know is a luxury, but we have a lot of dishes. So I was excited. I said, oh my goodness, we are so excited you're here, because we've been waiting for a part to come in. So I'm all bubbly and excited. He had no emotion. So he walked in and he started doing his work. And so I continued to be excited and positive, doing my thing. He's fixing the dishwasher. It was taking about an hour. And meanwhile, I was actually editing one of our conversations. I was also finishing up on one of our podcasts that's coming up. So he's listening. I wasn't even realizing that he was listening because I didn't have it that loud, but apparently he was listening. So when he was done fixing it, he asked me to come over to show me what he had done and some pointers and using the dishwasher. And he said, I was listening to what you were working on. And I was thinking, oh God, he's probably, this whack job, and he said, I believe in everything that you're doing. And the only way that I showed up here today is because I did my gratitude journal this morning. Mm-hmm. And I looked at my gratitude entry from yesterday and the day before. And he said, I'm not a religious person. However, I have created my own practice. And that is what helps me get through every single day. He said, because it's really tough to show up to people's homes because they look at me and they think he's just a repairman. They don't look at me as a soul. They don't look at me as a person. And and he said, so when someone opens a door, he said, especially in your area, he said, they look me up and down, they judge me, they give me a certain look and they're like, come this way. And he said, for a while, that really got him down. And then when he started doing his gratitude journal and whatever other practices he has, he said, life changed for him. And he said, I have a wife and children. And yet when people look at me, when I come to their homes in the morning or afternoon, they look at me as they don't look at me as anything but just the repairman. And so he said, thank you.
Wow. I love that. This is such a great story because and this is the second time I've heard it, but I'm still so moved by it, how he probably just emotionally puts a wall up every time he walks in a door, which is why you couldn't permeate that.
It was so stunning because one of my goals every day is to connect with people on a soul level. So I always put that out there. And I did when he walked in and there was literally nothing. And we're all of them, like I usually can crack something open. There was nothing. And so for that to then come through, it was a gift for me. And I was so grateful that he felt comfortable sharing that. And I think he felt by the time he left.
And it's something that I try to remember all the time too, because people often will come back to being that light. Being that light is an important job for all of us. It's something that people reflect back to me sometimes, is that because I show up with a loving presence, that in itself can be such a gift to give to the world. And even circling back to what we were saying before about our movie and maybe things not being so great in our lives, we still have that opportunity to shed light back to others, no matter what our circumstances are.
But that to me, yes, of course, when you're able to yes, shed light. I think if we think about it in a little bit of a different reflection, that man is a representation of us at some point. Yeah. So every character in your movie, like I feel that every person in your dream is you, because you're playing the role that you think somebody else would feel. Right? So this goes for our real life.
Yes.
That we've been the person walking in feeling a little bit less than. You've been the one on your back heels in a meeting or in a something. I don't care how wealthy, how successful, how beautiful, whatever. You've had a moment of walking in and feeling someone's negative energy at you. And you were seeing him, Robyn, as a reflection of you, of where am I showing up, not present, not receiving the love that's around me, that's being shown at me, right? If we see the where am I in the street,
totally.
Again, it's the work. And I think it's different work for different times in our life. So I've actually started compiling a list. Remember I told you guys about my fighting for my happy of like, how many things can I do a day that feel good?
Yes.
I started a list of what are all the different tools and all the different games and all the different practices that I've done so that I have them in a place so that when I am feeling really crappy, I can pull something else out. Because it's not that you need to do all 87 of these things every day. But for that man, he knew the most impactful were his gratitude journal, maybe his meditation, maybe he wraps himself in a shield before he walks into these homes when he's in certain neighborhoods. But it's for us to figure out what's going to work for me. That's my work. And I think all the practitioners that you guys are interviewing and the way that I choose to show up as a practitioner is how do I assist you and remind you and hold you accountable to doing your work? Because it's hard to do.
That's right. 1,000%.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's also what, on a certain level, what organized religion is. Like, these practices have worked. Try these. This will work for you.
Yeah. Gratitude is a really powerful one, as trite and maybe overused a word that it is. It always gets me back on track. Even if I can just think of two things, it always gets me back on track.
Did you ever talk about how Abraham talks about the difference between appreciation and gratitude? Karen, you're going to love this. So I changed my gratitude journal to an appreciation journal because gratitude implies the energy, the spirit of gratitude implies it's shocking that you would have it. Appreciation is, I know I deserve it. And I'm so content and happy and fulfilled that it's here. So I'm grateful for my health, as in, I didn't know if I would be healthy right now. And appreciation is, I've been relatively healthy for 43 years and I so love feeling healthy. Yes, more of that.
Gratitude, it feels like a milestone when you put it that way. Like it's a milestone that I have to get to, whereas appreciation is almost like a state of being, right?
Yeah. Gratitude is something you've overcome. Oh, I'm not going to get the right word, but I'm so lucky to have this. Oh, it just fell upon me. Thank you. I'm not deserving of it. Whereas appreciation is, fuck yeah, I deserve that. I have a note on my fridge now that says, because you deserve, period. Not because I earned it, not because I'm owed it, not because I gave enough, so now more should come to me, but like I am whole and I deserve, period, the end. And that to me is appreciation, and gratitude is, please, may I have some more?
Love that so much.
Notice that shift when you're doing your stuff, especially on your run. Like when I used to run, it was like, oh my gosh, this feels so good. I so appreciate that my body wants to do this. I appreciate that my body feels good after a mile. I appreciate that I can breathe. I appreciate the sun shining on my skin. This is all standard. And yes, give me more of that. Hit more of that green button. I will take more of that. Pull that lever. Dump that on me. More appreciation.
To me too. In addition, it also made me think of the I am enough. We are enough just by being, just by breathing and all of that. And it levels it up even a little bit more. I appreciate. I don't know why. To me, it like
it's you. That's why I like it so much more.
Yeah.
It's coming from a place of expecting, which on law of attraction, you have to know and believe as much as you believe the sun is going to come up in the morning and the moon is going to come up at night. You have to know that you deserve and you belong and it is here and it is done. I am abundance. I can see abundance everywhere. Therefore, the law is more abundance has to flow in. The knowing, the deserving, the happy with it or without it. Like even if I couldn't go for this run this morning, I would still be stoked for my day.
That's right.
Good shit's coming down the pike.
I know when I talk to both of you in the morning, I feel that way. You guys have this way of just drumming up the positivity for me. So
let me just share this because some days I wake up feeling this, but usually I fight for it in the morning. And this is what I mean by you have to choose to do the work. Mm-hmm. So I was on a walk this morning. I go for a walk every morning, unless it's raining. And then I like stew around thinking, what am I going to do with myself? But I have certain songs that I listen to. I have certain recordings I listen to. Sometimes it's Abraham, but I have my 5 different things. I have a happy camper playlist. Like I have my tools help me get into that mindset. And I am unwilling to let anyone get in my way until I can find what Abraham would call the high flying disc. I have to spend at least 10 to 15 to 20 to 30 minutes in that zone before I start work and that's how I try to start my day.
Yeah.
And then sadly, by the end of the day, I'm like pulled back into just normal human stuff. But I feel like
it's your sacred time, right? So everyone it's your sacred time. I have a similar way of being in the morning. I noticed this morning, actually, I feel like I've talked about this before, but for me, I do a little of my own meditation, my own Reiki energy healing, however you want to look at it to myself. And I do it in a specific spot in my house every day. Mm-hmm. And I noticed this morning, not my, like Jeff just like running in and out, like not want to like, and knowing that it helps me be a better me during the day.
Yeah.
You have to get yourself on a certain level.
And my point is in telling people, and if they want to reach out, I'm happy to help you figure this out for you. And this is part of the work that I do is helping people get back into their alignment so that they can find that. Because once you find that groove and practice that groove, it gets easier and easier to get there. Yeah. For me, sitting in a quiet meditation for 15 minutes is not my way right now. It doesn't do it.
And well, the point is it's different for every person, right?
Right. I feel like every person in this field, the answer is you've got to meditate.
No.
That's not my meditation. That's not my practice. I'm not saying you have to sit in silent meditation and that's the way it's going to be. It's literally about, for me, what helped was making a list of what does feel good. It's fruit in my water. It's like really simple, seemingly stupid things to other people, but it's about you figuring it out and then you making the choice as the star of your movie to do those things. Regardless, no one can get you off of them. No one can throw you from them. That is what is the most important.
Yeah. And carving that time out for yourself. I know everybody is so busy and there's so many reasons why we shouldn't have that time in the morning or whenever it is. But I do that too. And I set my timer. I get up a little bit early, just like you're saying. So there's nobody else around me that I can really let my thoughts think. My devoted time just to allow myself to have time. So I agree. And mine's not always a meditation either. Sometimes it's just listening to music and writing down whatever comes to me.
Exactly. It's whatever is going to serve you and just it's getting your energy to a certain point.
Yeah. Here's the thing that I will also say. It shouldn't feel annoying, right? So if people are like, you've got to write, you've got to write, and writing feels like a hassle, the writing's not your thing. So it should feel like, oh, I would do that. That actually feels right for me going for the walk. I don't have to force myself on the walk. I'm excited to get out there. So it's the thing that feels good. And that good feeling is your inner being. It's the source within saying, come on, I'm right here. Come this way. You know, it's for you because it feels good. Follow me over here.
I like to think of it as my wake me up. And for me, it's easing into my day. That feels good to me. Just jumping out of bed and going, that's not right for me. And that's what I've learned over these many years. So having that 10 to 15 minutes of easing, and for me, it's sitting and drinking my water and all of that. That is what feels good to me. And for every person, that's just different.
It might be the only time you give yourself all day.
That's right.
They might be the only time that you have. So even 15 minutes.
And to your point, you deserve it. So every person listening, you deserve it. You deserve it.
And not because, right? But not I deserve it because I deserve it, period.
You deserve it. Yeah.
So I have a lot of people say to me, I'm a mom and I work and I do this and I do it. It doesn't matter. If you laid on the couch all day, you still deserve it. It doesn't matter. There's no earning it. being here in a human
and it may change over time. I know we were talking to someone on our podcast a few weeks ago who has a young child and they're woken up at all hours. However, they take even 2 minutes in bed to say whatever they need to do to get them. But point being, it may change over time.
And that's why I think it's so important to write down all the things that make you feel good. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, where do I start? You start with writing down every moment for the next 2 weeks that feels good and what you're doing in that moment. Is it a certain song? Is it something that you're drinking, eating, doing, feeling, watching? What is it that you're doing with your senses that feels good? And then have that list of these are the things that I can go to when I have this much time, and using that as your tool.
I have to tell you, I've been doing that happiness journal for the last few weeks. It is a game changer. And what I notice, because I'll capture a ton in there and I see the pattern of what makes me feel good.
So if you were teaching this to me, teaching this to Bella, what would you tell me to do to create a happiness journal?
I would say anytime that for me, it's when I'm having a really good laugh or I feel really connected to somebody and it feels good. So it doesn't mean that we're belly laughing, but like, for instance, Bella and I went shopping yesterday. We don't do that actually all the time, but it felt good. We were connecting. She was telling me about life in a way that she doesn't always tell me about life. And we were just enjoying the time together. So that to me, it's when you're feeling good, write it down.
And it doesn't have to be big stuff, right? It could be you're in your bathroom washing your face with this soap that smells.
That's right.
Yes.
Right. Or it can be like, I'm just going to stop on the side of the road for 1 minute because the sunset is just so beautiful. Like they can just be really teeny, easy moments in your life. They don't have to be spiritual.
That's right.
Me, I like having those in my phone because my phone is.
That's what I'm doing. I'm keeping it in notes in my phone.
Perfect. So that's a great place for people to start too, right? Is anytime you feel like you're lifted up a little bit, even if it's just that you're going from a 5 out of 10 to a 6 out of 10, you're like, oh, that was good. Write it down.
Yeah.
Write down what you were doing, what happened, what song was playing, like all the things. Write it down.
Yes. And some days, I'll tell you, there was one day last week, I did my whole normal morning routine. I felt a little better, but I wasn't great. And it was a cloudy and rainy day here in Chicago. And I thought, am I going to have any happy moments today? I actually did. I wasn't sure. And I did have several, but it was harder to come by because the energy around me wasn't great either.
That's when I use the happy journal.
That's right.
That's when I go back and read it. Yeah. So I also have a synchronicity journal, a coincident journal.
Yes.
And sometimes when I feel like I don't have a gift, I'm not intuitive. This is ridiculous. I need to find a 9 to 5 and figure out my life. I read that and I'm like, okay, what are you talking about? You're fine. Settle down. I have a testimony folder of clients who have reached out and reminded me of what this work can do. And it's not just that we have that list and it just sits there. That's what you use when you're feeling funky.
You're right.
Because like attracts like.
Yeah, exactly.
And more can come in, you guys. It is science. It is real. If you're in a bad mood and someone comes and commiserates, you guys are doubling down. If you're in a happy mood and someone celebrates, it doubles up. It is real. It is tangible. It is measurable. Be your director. Don't just star in the movie. Be the director and the producer. You want to create a happier movie. You want to create the happy ending. Focus on the happy. More happy has to unfold. Do it as an experiment. Take 1 month. And this is what I did. This was how this all started. I did this as an experiment. I was on the floor, hitting concrete, crying on the bathroom floor kind of moments years ago. And I was like, fuck it. I'll try this Abraham thing. I will listen every day. And nothing actionable changed in my life. I felt measurably better. And that's the goal. We think having the money will feel better. We think having the dream partner will feel better. It's all about wanting to feel better. It's just about getting back to your connection to your source.
And it's free.
It's free.
It's free.
It requires no sessions, no books, no subscriptions, nothing. Though I am available for the low rate up. You want to fast track that shit? Give me a ring.
Oh, that's great.
This is going in my happiness journal today.